Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. During the last 24 hours, the number of provocations from terrorists in the zone of ATO has significantly reduced. There are no killed among Ukrainian servicemen. Only one serviceman was wounded. During the last 24 hours, the enemy actively started aviation reconnaissance. The Ukrainian bodyguards registered the use of 19 drones near Sartana United Novoselka of Donetsk region, Talivka of Lugansk region, and at the administrative border between Kherson region and occupied Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Among the terrorists, there's a lot of corruption and racketeering, which leads to impoverishing the citizens of Donbass. According to our intelligence, the citizens of Horlovks are not happy, not satisfied that the terrorists are ignoring the needs of local population. In Lugansk region, the combatants invented the new type of racketeering. They force all the transporters who are transporting passengers outside of the occupied territory to pay the charge from their income in the amount of 20%. We would like to remind that this is illegal, and this money will be used by militants to organize new acts of terrorism, but not for the peaceful life in Donbass. According to our data, the bands of the so-called DNR tried to enroll local children and teenagers in the age of from 16 to 18. That is the violation of Article 38 of the Convention of Children's Rights. The Ukrainian state and expand the humanitarian assistance to the citizens of the east of Ukraine. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the decision to supply humanitarian assistance to the population of occupied territories of Donetsk and Lugansk regions. For that, from the state budget, the money is allocated. 326 tons of humanitarian assistance was sent from Kharkov in 3 convoys, the first to Kramatorsk, the second one to Severodonetsk, and the third to Pavlograd. The state assistance of Ukraine is going to social institutions on occupied territories, to the orphanages and to houses for people of elderly age. Yesterday at Shastya passing point, the bodyguards led another humanitarian assistance of the International Red Cross to go to the citizens of Lugansk. There are 13 trucks. The total weight of the cargo is 18 tons. Also in Bugas, 12 trucks with humanitarian cargoes from organization Mariupolsky Association of Young People is also sent to Donetsk, and there are 230 tons of food products. Near Mariupol, the tankers of one of the units of armed forces of Ukraine are now taking care of one of the secondary schools and 2 children kindergartens. The Ukrainian law enforcement officers and counter-reconnaissance soldiers detained several especially dangerous pro-Russian terrorists. Yesterday, the counter-reconnaissance of the Security Service of Ukraine detained the undercover group, subversive group, which was managed by Russian special services, which was preparing a subversive act in one of the biggest storages of armaments in Sol mines of Artemyevsk district of Donetsk region. The militants were preparing to explode, to blow off one of the mines with the help of 45 kilograms of explosives. There were 3 explosives confiscated which were filled in with hexogen, plastide, and metal elements. Also, what was detected and confiscated was Makarov pistol with cartridges, also several cartridges to Kalashnikov machine gun, about 100 of grenades, and packages of explosives. Now the investigation operational actions are continuing. And the criminals were also planning to organize some explosions in the peaceful blocks of Artemyevsk. This is the video. In 2014, a person called me and said that I should meet him and another citizen of one village, Dmitry, at the Shevchenko stations. I should meet them with my car. In my car, they put 2 sports bags where there were the explosives which you see here. The person said that I should take these bags with explosives and should hide them. These explosives were to be used for the act of terrorism on the territory of Artyomovsk district. Thank you. The full version of this recording you will get after the briefing. And thanks to the successful special operation of the Ministry of the Interior and the Security Service of Ukraine in the Novomoskovsk Dnipropetrovsk region, the especially dangerous criminal group which worked under cover of 3 persons was eliminated. The criminals were planning to set fire to banking institutions, to seize weapons at military units, and also organize explosions. There were 400 grams of trotylum extracted, 24 explosive grenades, and stickers with the image of the flag of the so-called Novorossiya. Thank you. Your questions? Liberty Radio. To continue the topic of humanitarian convoys, do you have any information about how Ukrainian international organizations and international organizations help the territories which are liberated from separatists? Because the situation is very difficult there. Dmytro Tymchuk informed in the morning that in Pisky, there are Ukrainian and Russian officers who are trying to organize a buffer zone there. Is that information true? As to humanitarian assistance, believe me, not a single gram of such humanitarian assistance stays on this territory. Everything, all the humanitarian assistance at the initiative of the government and under the control of the President of Ukraine is collected and is sent to the regions, not to the territories which are liberated from terrorists. We do send the trucks there every day or every other day. We send the convoy to these places. Now we have a big problem, and our task is to deliver humanitarian assistance to the territory which is under the control of the terrorists, so that these things get to people who require such assistance badly. We are negotiating with those who are controlling these territories, and we are trying to organize it so that those people who are impoverished there and those people who promised them new order do nothing, but now Ukrainian authorities are trying to organize the delivery of the food products and the warm clothes. so that it all gets to our citizens. And as to the group that works on the line of delineation, the work is going on. It's not public, and that is the process as to controlling this delineation line. And thanks to the work of these officers and the representatives of another country, the representatives of OSCE, the silence regime helps us, and it helps us to make the situation close to ideal. So we see that several days there are no people killed, no servicemen killed, there are less shellings, we see only provocative shellings. So the work will continue. It is strengthened, and the Ukrainian authorities are doing everything so that the combat actions are not resumed, so that we can start executing the first item of Minsk agreements. We are trying to do everything so that another side is also executing at least the first item of Minsk agreement, so that we can proceed with executing others. Two questions, one about shellings, what is the hottest place now, and about the aviation reconnaissance. You say that 19 drones during 24 hours, that's a lot. What can it mean? Talking about shellings, and the shellings, traditional shellings are in Donetsk airport, in Lugansk direction, Pisky. The biggest number of cases of registered drones are here. That is southern direction, and the biggest number of drones registered are there. That means that the enemy still wants to control our territory, and they are monitoring how we are reinforcing the positions and how our forces are moving. They're trying to get this reconnaissance data this way. We're not talking about that a lot. Once the reconnaissance is getting stronger, that means that the enemy is still interested in this direction, especially when we're talking about the south. That's where we see the biggest activity of forces, our forces, and the forces of terrorists, because we are monitoring this situation. We're getting the operational data, and we can